All right, guys, welcome to episode 10 of Rooting for Laundry. If everybody's good, I'm your host, Johnny McDonald. You can follow us on IG and Twitter at Root for Laundry. That is Root for Laundry. Thank you for joining us. I took a hiatus because of what's going on in the world, between the pandemic as well as the racial injustice, the protests. I felt like it's probably not a good time to put out things. Like we all know, like the mood everybody's in, and we hope and pray that things will get better and there's change in the world. So thank you for joining. We appreciate it. Today's topic, we're covering the New York Mets, probably my favorite team, the team that introduced me to sports. My favorite athletes of all time were on that team. They won the championship in 1986. That was their last championship. It seemed like forever. But I was a very young man, and I remember my father took me to games, and that's the most memorable times I had, and I've been a Mets fan ever since. And for the most part, it sucks, but hopefully things will get better. They've been to the World Series in 2015. They lost, but that was a fun ride. And in the 2000s, you had a couple of years where things were great, but for the most part, things aren't so great. And now we have two Mets fans coming on the show. First Met fan I'm bringing up, you might have seen him on Power as Black Grimace, and also in Marvel's The Punisher on Netflix. Give it up for Avery Mason.
Yeah,
Avery,
what's going
good,
on?
Man?
Nothing,
How's
man.
everything?
Sipping on some clear liquid in this Rosé Mansion wine glass that I'm taking care of myself. It's actually just sparkling water. It's actually sparkling water. I'm not that fancy. What's going on, Johnny?
I'm chilling, man. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to bring our other guest here. You might have seen him on New York One, and also a comedian as well. Give it up for Pontillo, Joe Pontillo.
Teasy.
I think I have a few better credits than that.
Yeah, I know. New York One is the one I remember the most.
Well, I was talking about the Mets mostly, so I guess it connects.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, man. So thank you for joining us. First of all, I'll start with you, Joe. How's everything going with all this pandemic and stuff going on?
I feel like stand-up comedy mostly doesn't matter anymore.
I don't disagree. I definitely don't disagree.
I've mostly been doing good. I've been busy. I got to work on some projects and things I probably wouldn't have worked on if I was out performing every single night. But now it's like I don't know what's happening next. So
yeah, you don't know. And Avery, how are you hanging in there with everything going on?
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with Joe there, man. I haven't really been as worried about stand-up comedy as I have, but I will say, while I haven't been putting on pants a lot, I have been putting on weight. So there.
Oh no,
that's the one thing.
Yeah, I remember you lost a ton of weight. I remember when you were slimming down. I was like, this guy's going to NXT. He's gonna be in the WWE Performance Center. I was like, yes.
Yeah, that wasn't my happy weight, but I put some back on. But I was mostly just hanging in there, just kind of waiting for things to go back to some kind of normal, so we can resume our lives.
Yeah,
I have been wearing pants every day for the last 3 months. And showering most days, which some people I know haven't been doing. Sometimes I shower twice, once for me and once for the people who are choosing not to.
There you go.
All right, so let's get to the reason why we're here. The New York Mets, we're big fans. Yeah.
Remember those guys?
Yeah, we get teased a lot by crappy Yankee fans and all other people. So, Avery, I'll start with you first. When did you become a Mets fan? When did the bug bite you?
That's a great question. Much like yourself, I started in '86. My mother was a big-time baseball fan, and I remember I didn't watch the games with her like that because I didn't understand what was happening, but earliest memories, I remember the Mets won the World Series, and she starts screaming. She opens the window in our neighborhood, and she yells out the window, "Hey, the Mets won!" the Mets won the World Series, and then like people are like, oh, they won, and like they're honking the car horns and making as much noise as they can. That's the earliest memory I have. I actually still have that program. Oh, it's her program. It's not mine, but we still have the program from the season.
And that's in Park Slope, Brooklyn, right?
That's in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Yeah, that's where all that yelling went down.
Nice. And now I'll send it over to you, Joe. When's your first memory?
I don't think I really had a choice in the matter. I kind of just once I started.
All our parents were our influences. So,
you realize what's going on, and you're like, oh, I root for this baseball team for some reason. I was too young for 86, so somewhere around like 89, 90 is when I started to really pay attention, which was like the end of that run. So it was great for that year and a half, and then they were awful after that.
Oh my God.
So not the best.
A lot of ups and downs for me myself. Yeah, I started like 86. My father took me to remember watching the World Series with him, and that 86 World Series is like just so many memorable moments and so many like players and so many savages on that team. If you remember hearing the stories, like everybody was on drugs. Everybody just like they would fight each other. They would fight.
Yep.
It was just a crazy team. So like one of my favorite players, Avery. Who was my favorite player of all time? Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden were everything to me. They got me into baseball, especially because there are not too many black baseball players at the time. Even though now it's not the same, but it was just so like wow, these guys. Look like me, and like they were just like, were you a big Darryl and Doc guy?
Not really. I actually had two different favorites, but for two completely different reasons. One of my favorite players was Tim Tuffle. It's just because I like saying Tim. I like saying Tim Tuffle. Tim Tuffle.
Yeah.
Tim Tuffle.
You're backup second baseman.
Yeah. Tim Tuffle. It was Tim Tuffle and Howard Johnson, because whenever you would go to they would say, "Oh, Joe, and Mookie," because then Mookie played Mookie Wilson. Yeah, and Mookie. So that was a little kid. So for me, that was
absolutely.
Tim Tuffle, yay!
Yeah, I like Tim Tuffle too because he had the Tuffle shuffle where he would shake, like he would do this shake with the bat.
Yeah, right in the back.
So like anybody who knew like Tim Tuffle
shuffle,
why is he shaking his ass up there? It was just, as a kid, it was just weird. So, Joe, who were your favorite players?
Actually, Howard Johnson too. Even though he wasn't that big of a part of the '86 team, but he was huge, until like '91. And then his career just fell apart at some point. He went from like 38 home runs to like 7.
It wasn't the same.
And then probably Strawberry and Keith Hernandez. I think the Keith Hernandez was just because from a distance he kind of looked like my dad. So
I was gonna say he does. I met your family a bunch of times.
He has to root for every guy with a mustache.
Just a big, thick old mustache. You're like, that makes sense, man. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, my dad actually has a picture of them two together, and they look not quite as the same, but enough.
Yeah, could be his brother. Yeah.
Maybe.
Shout out to Paul Lysite. Thank you you are a big Mets fan too. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you for joining us, man. Yeah, so that 86 was like like I said, everybody was savages. So many stories. 86. If you read any, if you watch the Doc and Darryl 30 for 30 produced by Judd Apatow, it they reveal all the things. Like Darryl Strawberry revealed that he used to have sex between innings of games. So that's
in the bullpen.
In the bullpen. And when they won, they also Doc Gooden missed the championship parade down the Canyon of Heroes because he went to buy some drugs in the project.
Really impressive that he was the only one to miss the parade. Like you would think half the team would go missing, some of the coaches.
It was just a wild time. Game 6, I also remember because that's when Mookie hit the Bill Buckner curse, where everybody remembers. That's never going anywhere. And also, with that same game was the guy that parachuted. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Parachuted into the game. Yep.
That was a
Damn.
that was big because like not only like it wasn't really about baseball, it was just about like everything, whole other things were going on. So like the 86
Like
Mets,
transcended baseball almost.
yeah, it's just everything was going on. I think I know more about the Mets off the field than I do on.
If that parachuting thing would have happened today, the jumper would have landed on like Cespedes or Wright, and knocked them out for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and they'll be injured and nothing. Yeah, so
it was a wild time in the '80s, man. You can't do any of that stuff. Like that's crazy how much stuff.
I think that parachute, that parachute guy might have gotten shot. They was like, "What the hell is coming down?" Just,
right.
Boom. Just, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been over for him. But that was fun. So 87, they win 92 games, and then they don't make the playoffs. And then 1988. Do you remember 1988 when they went to the playoffs against the Dodgers and they lost in 7?
Yeah, that was a good. But that was a good series, though. That was a good series. Some Hall of Fame players in there, but it was at least that Mets team played. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have gone either way. So both of those teams were really good. You know what I mean? So it's like not like the series we had. I have to bring this up because I know we're going to get there at some point, but it's not like the series we had against the I want to say the Atlanta when we had our best player on the mound, freaking oh my God, why is his name not coming to me?
Not Kenny Rogers, not 99.
No.
Kenny,
yes, with Kenny
Rogers.
Yes, where he left, it was a full count, and all.
I remember.
Player. Okay, and I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, yo, who could have written this better? We got our best player in the game. It's a full count. We know.
Oh, you're talking about coming. Beltran in 2006.
No, Beltran in 2006. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Save that.
But
I'm gonna get there.
Those two instances, I was like, he's going to talk about it. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to build my way up.
Joe, I watched baseball. I watched a lot of the games. I would not miss a game. And when those two things happened, that was what pushed me over the edge. Like, I can't watch games anymore.
I could have went to that game, and I decided against it.
To go to 06, right?
I was so glad I didn't go.
Oh, my God.
That would have
brutal.
But I'm gonna get to that. But
sorry, but yes,
it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, 1988, they lose in 7 to the Dodgers, and the Mets were the better team at the time.
Yes,
because when they played the Dodgers in the regular season, they basically won majority of the game.
Like dominated them.
Yeah, and then Oral Hershiser was the guy that really he was just so dominant in that series.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, a lot of said if the playoff format was like when the Yankees won all their World Series, like in the 90s, if the playoff format, not a lot of teams made the playoff, only the 4 divisional winners.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if the Mets, if this was 1995 when they put in the divisional series and more teams went to the playoffs, then I'm pretty sure the Mets would have definitely had more than one World Series.
Yeah, if they could have played the Twins in the first round for 5 straight years, they would have won a lot of World Series.
Yeah. Just playing, it'd been much easier.
Every time it was Yankees Twins, I'm like, why did they even bother? Just don't even play the series.
Yeah.
Tiddlywinks. Tiddlywinks the series, guys. Just flip a coin.
So right now, I'm just going to go through. So after 88, everything just starts going downhill. So I just go over these crazy news stories that popped up during those times. 1989, David Cohn gets busted for masturbating in front of 3 women in the bullpen.
I did not remember this.
I don't remember this either.
I remember it. I remember hearing this story, and they filed a lawsuit 3 years later. So he's before Louis C.K. He's before his time. So, but I remember hearing that he's 3 girls came over, and he's saying, and I guess they started talking,
Were they wearing the cone heads? Remember the cone heads?
They probably were.
I remember the cone heads.
Yeah. Right. Let me tell you something.
They probably were, but then you see that came out, and that was crazy. So that's one black eye. Outside 1991, Darryl Strawberry leaves to go to LA. He signs a big contract with LA. One of the saddest.
Vince Coleman.
Yeah, I was a big Vince Coleman guy. He with St. Louis, he used to steal bases, and when they got him, I was kind of happy at the time.
It's exciting.
Yeah, but Avery, tell me your story with Daryl when you hear Daryl left. Was that like?
I mean, I was sad to see him go because, he was like, to me, he felt like the foundation of the team, but at the same time, I felt like he's got to go get his money. I was happy for him. I didn't think he was going to do that good in LA, and it turns out I was right because he went to LA, which is basically right, one good year, right? If you want to call it that, fine. But LA is basically the capital of cocaine, so I knew when he was going there.
He's partially paid it.
He's going to cocaine HQ. I'm like, he might have one good year if they can keep him clean, and they couldn't. And he was doing way more coke over there than he was here, believe it or not.
He said there was a recent interview he had where he said he regrets leaving the Mets because he just didn't have as much discipline as he does now, as he did then, even though, if going from doing cocaine to doing more cocaine.
I mean, I don't know how you go and play all those innings of a baseball game. You got to be out there for hours and you're high off your ass. I remember reading his book and he was like, I was doing coke before the games. I would take breaks, go into the bathroom, do a bump in the. I'm like, how you? And you got to hit a ball that's coming at you like 100 miles an hour and you high. I don't know.
I would think it would be the reverse, and he'd be swinging long before the ball even got there.
Exactly. And the pitcher's like, I didn't throw it. The pitcher's like, I didn't throw the ball yet. What's he swinging at? Like, is that a strike? I didn't throw the ball.
When he was younger, because like he said, when he was younger, it was like he was he hit the ball looked bigger when he was doing coke and knocking him out of the park. I guess it's like a sugar rush.
I gotta try that one.
Go ahead, try it.
Throw me a pitch.
But Daryl, that was a sad one for me to go. And then when Doc went, it was like the same thing. He just Doc went like a couple years later, but he just started getting bad. He wasn't.
He
was like the last person from that team to hang on. He was still there in like '94.
Before the strike, he was.
But he put on some. I remember he put on so much weight. Like, remember how skinny he was in the '80s, and then right in the '90s, he just ballooned up, and I was just like, what's happening to Doc Goodyear? He's he's the Doc Goodyear blimp now. He's no more Doc Goodyear.
He couldn't strike anybody out, but all of a sudden he became a better hitter. Weirdly,
that's
he was trying to hit home runs.
Pontillo mentioned Vince Coleman. I remember he had a lot of black guys as a Mets. I remember they played in LA against the Dodgers, and like fans were waiting for autographs, and he threw some fireworks in the crowd. They got arrested.
Oh shit!
That's wild. Like how the hell did you do that? So that's another one.
It's like people just signed with the Mets because they were like, "This is the place where people just do whatever the hell they want."
Yeah,
right?
That's what it is.
You got to be good.
You want to do drugs? You want to throw fireworks and rape people? That's where you go.
Right. And then Brett Saberhagen threw like bleach on a reporter or something.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Didn't he have like some kind of fight with like Mike Cubbage too? And that first
Vince Coleman. Yep. Vince Coleman
had a fight with Mike Cubbage, and I was like, he got to a fight? Like, what the? Just got here. He didn't even.
I was happy when they signed him, but
he still stole like 37, 38 bases each year. It's horrible.
That's the test. Go ahead.
Now I was going to say, when you said he stole bases, I remember that, but I also remember people accusing him of he was like cheating with the stealing of the bases.
Sign stealing.
He was sign stealing with the bases. So they were like, you're stealing a lot of bases, but you're also stealing signs. So he was like pretty good at stealing bases, but also good at stealing signs. No shade, Vince, if you're watching. I'm just saying, it's what you were doing, buddy.
But with baseball, that's like
wasn't helping his batting average or anything.
And that's the problem I have, I guess, with baseball today. It's like baseball is not the sport we had go. Baseball was like the greatest sport ever growing up to me. It was better, like not better, but it was more pop like NFL, NBA. Baseball, I guess, because of it was the national pastime. Baseball had more American tradition. Now it's because it's so set in their ways and they're so old school. It really tailed off to I worked in the school system I worked with kids for over 15, 20 years. And kids don't care about baseball anymore. Would you agree?
What'd you do, Johnny? What'd you do to them?
I don't know. I remember
Turn them away.
I took my niece and nephew to a game, and they were like, "What the hell is going on?" They don't like the rules. Just the game is so different. Like basketball, you watch an NBA game, it's so easy to learn. You know what I'm saying? NFL, because everything is timed. Where baseball, it's like if you weren't like taught about baseball from like a parent or like a relative or any, you probably don't know what the hell is going on.
I personally think that one of the reasons that baseball is kind of going the way it is because I think, first of all, the games are really long.
Too long.
You have to, and there's like a rhythm to it, but it's not like it's a slow rhythm, especially, you know what I'm saying, between players. You know, they throw a pitch, boom, pick, guy lining up. There's no glitz or glam to it. And I also think that the season is too long. I've said for a long time since high school and college that, you know, sitting down to watch over 100 games of baseball is too much. And they're even talking about making it longer. And I'm like, longer? You need to make it shorter.
Yeah. Ever go to an extra inning game?
Who wants to go to teams? Yeah, less teams. Go ahead, Joe. You got it.
They need less teams and maybe like, I don't know, 20 less games, like bring it back down to like 144 or something. Oh. You know, it's like you watch the opening day and then you forget about it for 2 months and then you watch another game and you're like, this is still going on.
Yeah.
Especially if your team is shitty, who wants to watch over 100 games of a team losing? Your team can't even win 20 games. You won 19 and you lose like over. Who wants to watch that? Nobody wants to watch it at home or at the ballpark.
Yeah, you get out like people don't even go to full games, and it's like it's not like Met games. You can get in for free basically, or I remember getting hit up like, hey, you want to go to a game like minutes before? Like I got 20 tickets. Everybody canceled.
I think like 2 times have I ever actually paid to go to a game in my life.
Yeah, I think me too. But I also think Johnny and Joe, maybe you agree with this too, is that I liked when the Mets played at Shea Stadium. I like Citi Field, it's okay, but Citi Field feels too corporate. When I would go to Shea Stadium as a kid, it was just something that you'd see the guys standing there in lights holding the bat, and it's like there were people there who actually loved the game. You come for the love of the game, you know, you get a hot dog, it was inexpensive. Now you go there, you got the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, which is fine, but then you got all these places in Citi Field that are sponsored by these corporate sponsors that never show up to the
worst corporations on the planet. Like go to the J.P. Morgan Chase Lounge and the Estella Club, or a baseball game.
It's definitely not.
So there was more love in those times to me to Shea Stadium. It was more like a fan-friendly place. Now it's just kind of corporate. You know what I mean?
It was like gritty and like looked like it was barely held together, but it was like charming.
It was charming.
A big
love.
Yeah.
I remember a game, it was like 99. Todd Pratt hit the game-winning home run.
Oh, against the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I remember there. And the whole stadium, literally, you could see the level shaking. And I'm like, this might kill thousands of people, but it's awesome. So who cares?
Yeah, everybody gets like, it was creaky. It was cool, man. I moved in 1992, big Mets signing, Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bo, they're still paying him to this day. Still
signing that they still rule.
Still getting paid to this day.
Highest paid player in 2020.
Shout out, who was his agent? Scott Boras, I think?
Yeah, Scott's, gotta look it up.
Is he around then?
I want to say it might have been, but that's the greatest contract of all time because he's still getting paid and he will continue to get paid.
At first, I thought he was still getting paid for the second time he was on the Mets, and when they brought him back.
The first contract, he signed that big deal, and it was. I thought when we signed, I was like, "Oh, we got a winner, we got a surefire winner here," and it just fizzled out.
So happy. I was so happy.
It didn't work out, but he got paid, and I'm like, "Go get that money." Get that money.
And that's the year. It was Bobby Bonilla, Brett Saberhagen.
Right.
And he was really bad in 92, but he was actually pretty good in 93, but the team was horrendous, so it didn't matter.
Bonilla or Saberhagen?
Bonilla. He had like 34 home runs in 1993, but the team lost 103 games.
Yeah. So like, Saberhagen was the player when it was like every odd number year he would be good, and then the even number year he'd be terrible. So he was like, was like Jekyll and Hyde for Saberhagen. It was a weird.
The 1 year he was healthy with the Mets was the strike shortened season.
I know. And Eddie Murray was like the best player.
And he hated being on the Mets, Eddie Murray. He was so annoying.
Oh, my God.
And personally, Eddie Murray was one of the meanest. He wouldn't sign anything. I remember going to a Knicks game, and he was there. I remember a couple of occasions running into Eddie Murray. And he would say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he wouldn't talk to anybody. Eddie Murray was one of the as a person,
so
not as a
just
player.
Just so you guys know the numbers for people who are watching, this might sound not like a lot, but Bobby Bonilla was a 5-year, $29 million contract, which does not sound a lot by today's standards.
Back
then, people weren't getting that kind of money. Like, I know A-Rod signed this 3-figure deal when he was coming over from Houston, but But that back then was a lot of money. 5 years, $29 million. He's still getting paid that money. So they can't just write him a check. Just write him a check.
The Wilpons probably thought the world was going to end in 2000, so they're like, yeah. Starting in 2005.
What an idiot! You'll never see that money.
Bonilla was a star too. Remember that he did that cameo in New York Undercover?
I do remember that.
Rookie of the year.
That was a big deal. I remember that. Bobby Bonilla was a star, man. I was big, and he was from the Bronx, so it's like, man, we got him, man. That was dope, man.
I think he was a little overhated. I don't know.
He was overhated. He came over from the Pirates, and everybody was like, "Okay, we got our guy. This is the cornerstone." And then it didn't work out. He didn't hit as well as he did. I mean, when he was with the Pirates, so.
Should have got Barry Bonds instead.
Yeah. Everybody wanted Barry, but oh well. I'm gonna move on to 1990. The strike season happened in 94. 1996, the Yankees win the World Series. And we're Mets fans, but I never hated the Yankees. But that 1996 Yankees team,
Not to that point.
I didn't hate them then because all my favorite players were on that Yankees team. They had Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, and David Cohn. Yeah. And and so you had like guys that I admire. So I was very happy for that team.
I was too.
Dogs, Charlie Hayes, who else? Jimmy Key, David Cohn, like all these guys.
David Cohn. Joe Torre was a manager of the Mets back in the day, but that was before my time. Mel Stoudemire was a pitching coach. Yeah, he was a pitching coach then. He was a pitching coach for the Yankees '96. So I had a connection with those guys. I was happy for those guys. It was like a redemption for Doc and Darryl too. Remember, Doc pitched a no-hitter that year too.
I do. That was his redemption year. He came back clean. He was clean. Yeah. He lost some weight. He was looking good. Yeah, I remember that no-hitter. I felt good for him. I was happy for him and Darryl. They get another chance because a lot of people don't get many second chances. They won the pennant, so it's like it's redemption almost. But unfortunately, after that,
and they got out of hand.
They
hadn't won in almost 20 years, so it was like, it's been a while for the Yankees. What are you gonna do? And
that was a long time.
Now we're gonna win every year. And you're like, okay, guys.
The evil empire started, and the Yankees. Darryl ended up winning the rest of his rings over there too. He stayed on for the others.
I didn't think he won another one with. Darryl did.
No, he did. Yeah, he did. I don't know if he wasn't on the 2000 team. I think he was on the 98 and 99 team, but he wasn't on the 2000 team.
He really wasn't he wasn't that player anymore.
No, it's like a pinch hitter. You put him in. Like you need a left-handed bat. Yeah.
He really didn't add much. He really didn't have much to do with that second one. I'm just saying.
I feel like his last season, he hit like 14 home runs and drove in like 19 RBIs.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Something like that. But he was
Johnny, what you didn't talk about when you talked about Doc Gooden was that Jerry curl. That was the one thing I love that.
You know why? Because everybody had one.
Love that Jerry curl. You guys aren't talking about the Jerry curl. Look at that. You're not talking.
Remember, what's the name? Had it too. Remember Rafael Santana?
he was high in this picture too. Look at that thing.
He's regretting all his decisions in that picture.
I remember. I think Rafael Santana had one too. Remember him?
You sure? Was that Jerry curl?
a little Jerry Curl. It wasn't the Doc drip.
Sure,
a little drip. Yeah, it wasn't the Doc drip. Or the Roberto Kelly drip. Or the Roberto
Kevin
Kelly
Mitchell.
drip.
I don't remember.
Oh, Kevin Mitchell. Kevin Mitchell looked like a pimp because he had the Jerry Curl and the gold tooth.
That's right, the gold tooth.
And then Kevin Mitchell.
He also totally did not fit in his uniform.
No, he didn't. Never did.
And then Kevin Mitchell went to the Giants, became an MVP.
Yeah, and they Mets traded him for Kevin McReynolds, who was a schmo.
Reynolds, yeah.
Reynolds was good. Come on.
Big Mac, Kevin, no,
He had a couple of good years.
Kevin Mitchell, I don't think anybody saw how good he would be. And he ended up with but he was, I think he was taking roids. He was on steroids too, I think.
I don't know if that was ever revealed.
I don't know, but I think
flying pretty naturally.
He went down. I remember he was with the Giants. He had the MVP year, and then after that, I remember one game he caught a ball with one hand, bare hand catch. Yeah, and then after that, yep. And he went to Seattle, and I think it just went downhill from there. But yeah. So
damn shame.
1988, May 28th, the Mets get Mike Piazza. Was a big deal. That was 1998. Yeah, Mets get Mike Piazza. I remember personally going to the first game. Yeah, he first game. He was with the Dodgers. They traded him to the Marlins. He was like a Marlin for like 5 games, and then they traded him to the Mets because the Mets got Preston. The Mets traded Mookie Wilson's son, Preston's.
Right.
That was part of the package. So that was big. I guess Joe, I'll start with you first. When Mike Piazza came, were you like, oh shit, this is we got another guy?
I was like, finally, an Italian player. No.
Yes.
I was at the game before his debut, and remember the scoreboard was like, dun dun dun, he's coming. Like they were hyping up a movie.
Yeah.
It was awesome, and it it turned. I mean, the team was already kind of good, but he just took them to that next level.
Absolutely,
yeah. And he was just, he was a very special. I mean, he's the only other Mets Hall of Famer, even though it took him 9 tries to get in because of all the quasi-steroid allegations. But
like I said, I remember going to that first game, and the build, the atmosphere in Shea was pretty electric, and just being hyped. It's like a brand new era.
Yeah, just for a regular season game.
Yeah. Yeah. Avery, do you remember when Piazza came?
I do remember not being as excited. Everyone was talking about this guy. He's this big catcher, and he's going to hit and bring in his bat. And I was just kind of I don't know. I was still feeling some type of way about Bobby Bo. When you bring in somebody, you pay them all this money. I was like, I don't know. It's another guy who's going to be a waste. But I'm just being reminded here they gave up Preston Wilson, Ed Yarnall, and Jeff Getz, and I kind of like Jeff Getz, but all right, I was like,
I'm not sure you ever even made the majors.
No, but I like Jeff Getz because the same reason I like Tim Tuple is it's the intonation of the name, Tim Tuple. But I wasn't. I remember being like, okay, I was reserved. I was like, okay, let's see what he can really do. Is he bringing his bat, or is he just bringing his wallet to collect that check? That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking.
Yeah. And that's what I remember, because remember Todd Hundley was the catcher, and they ended up moving him to left field or whatever. That didn't work at all.
Poor bastard. That was the worst. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. He was supposed to miss most of the season with an injury, and the Mets didn't replace him. They just got 5 different backup catchers. It was Alberto Castillo, here, and they combined to hit 180 with 3 RBIs.
So once they got Piazza, that was it, man. And that was the same year they got those black uniforms, which I really, really liked. Did you like the when they implicated the black uniform and everything?
Yeah, those were sweet, man.
Those were sweet.
Was never a big fan of the pinstripes, to be honest with you. I mean, they were okay, but I was like, we need something fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, but those
in '99 they had the all white uniforms without the names on the back, they were trying to be.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the numbers. Yeah, that didn't work out so good. They didn't sell those. They didn't sell many jerseys that year. They were trying to. They didn't sell a lot of jerseys because who wants a number on the back of a jersey? You don't want to feel like you're in the MLB. You don't want to feel like you're playing JV. You know what I'm saying? I get those kind of jerseys when I go play JV or intramural basketball. I want something with a name on the back.
It's not like the Yankees. Well, I hate Yankees jerseys when they do have the name on the back because it just feels so it's so out of place because they're the only jerseys that don't have names.
Do their road jerseys have names? I forget.
No, Yankees are the only team in any sport that never had their names on the back. At least American sports. I don't know about across the world, but like when somebody has a Jeter number 2 and Jeter's up there, I'm like, ugh, why would you do it? It just looks stupid.
It looks weird. It does.
Yeah. But Mike Piazza comes in. I mean, and then it turns around because in 1999 they go to the playoffs for the first time. They benefit from this new format. They go in like that series against the Diamondbacks where Todd Pratt hits the home run, and they advance. And then they had that series against the Braves. They take the Braves to 6. Braves were always our nemesis.
The Braves and the Phillies. Braves and the Phillies. I will say the Braves and the Phillies have been our constant thorn.
I think the Braves were worse because once they realigned the divisions where they had like 3 divisions instead of 2, it was just the Braves. The Phillies, but they weren't as bad as the Braves. I think the Braves were the worst. Marlins were always kind of
in the West Division.
Yeah. And when they realized, baseball was
standing in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when they did that. Like,
and I think they moved Milwaukee to the National League, and that was so weird to me. Like when the Brewers moved to the National
League. That series, they started off down 3-0, and then they won game 4, and then they won that crazy like 15 or 16 inning game where Ventura hit the
home grand slam. Yeah.
And in game 6, they were down like 5-0 and 7-2. They came all the way back. Piazza hit the game-tying home run. Then they took the lead twice, and then Benitez and Franco both.
Benitez was the worst.
And then Kenny Rogers came in. It was just like, I'm not. That was it. That was the worst loss.
He was terrible. Anything like the Yankees, he was hated. The Mets, he was just terrible.
That team would have beat the Yankees that year. The 2000 team wasn't as good. The 99 team, I think, would have beat them.
Yeah, they might have gave him the run for their money. But 99, they won 97 games. They got that far, but it doesn't come true. 2000, we know what happens. Subway Series, but
before game 4.
It never happened. Nope, I blocked it out. That didn't happen. We went from 99 to 2001. That never happened. I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Let me tell you. One of my biggest memories going to a game. I went to 2000. I went to Fireworks Night, which was June 30th, 2000, and that was a game. The Braves were beating them 8-1. In the bottom of the 8th, and the Mets came all the way back, and nobody left. Like a regular game like that with no promotion, half the fans would have left the ball. But because it was Fireworks Night and people were there mainly for the fireworks, it's like, all right, just get this shit over with. So the fireworks happened, and they come all the way back. I think Alfonso gets a hit, and then it just starts.
Yeah, it was a rally.
It's just one of the best. My favorite game of all time. Just being there, the electricity, and just seeing them come all the way back from 8-1 in the 8th to and then Piazza hits this towering home. Him and Darryl Strawberry probably have the most monstrous home runs I've ever seen.
Piazza home run was weird. He uppercutted it, and then it went a wide drive, and barely got out.
Yeah, it was like a fly swatter. He was like a fly swatter. It's just
and then Shea Stadium, it would bounce off something, and it looked like it wouldn't even leave the stadium. It would just bounce back onto the field.
In that big open space, it was just that's one of my favorite games. But 2000, that ride was fun because we finally see a matchup. They beat San Fran in the divisional series, they beat St. Louis in 5, and we're like, holy shit, the Mets are going to the World Series against the Yankees. So it's kind of the first ever Yankees versus Mets Subway Series. I mean,
it was. It definitely split the city in half, and I was pissed that Giuliani took a side. I felt like he should have been like, you know what? I'll be happy to see whichever New York team wins. But this MFer went up there and said, "Well, I'm a big Yankees fan too." I was like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Really?
Really? To marry you?
Yeah.
We need unity right now."
Exactly, man. Come on.
And
last year, they lost it in game 1 because
game 1 was hard because I remember Todd Zeal hit a ball that
like hit the top of the wall and like slowly rolled down, and everybody just froze.
He thought it was a home run, but it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, Roger Clemens tried to murder
Piazza.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He was thrown out of the game.
Yes, he should have. I
That
agree.
was false.
I agree. 100%. He threw that ball at his head, and I was like, I can't believe he did that. Didn't it take him out of? He had a concussion because of that. He caught a concussion, didn't he?
No, he threw the bat at him, but it didn't hit him. And then Piazza was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And it was
a sharp piece of the bat at Piazza.
Yeah. He said, "I thought it was the ball." He said, "I thought it was the ball."
Which makes even less sense.
Oh, okay. But I could have sworn that didn't Clemens plunk him one time, and he got hit. I feel like hold on, I'll look it up now because I feel like Clemens threw it in his head.
I think that was a year or two later that happened.
And then Piazza's like, "Yo, what the hell?" Like Piazza got really pissed. Like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then he's like, and Clemens was like, "I thought it was the ball." He legit said, "I thought it was the ball."
Yeah, he was having a roid rage moment.
Yeah, I think it was Roy's. I think it was the Roy rage. So
Had to be the Roy's.
Yeah,
he should have got taken out of that game, and the Mets would have won, and would have been a totally different series. But
right,
yeah, it was a fun ride. I think it was a fun ride for the city of New York. I mean, the Yankees won, but like it was like everybody was into it. Like everybody chose a side.
Do you guys remember they would take the trains? They would take some trains would be like the Mets colors, and they put the
the 7 train.
And some trains would be the Yankees colors. And I was like,
the 6 train would be the Yankees. Yeah, and the 7 train. Yeah, it was a great moment as far as New York sports. And it was it was so much fun. I remember just collecting stuff, buying programs, and because it was like this is a historic moment. I was like, I bought was it? Yep, I remember that.
Remember that?
I can't believe they took the time to do that.
World Series, baby.
7 trains delayed because we're painting it Mets colors. People couldn't stand for that right now.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. But that was so much fun, man. So 2000, the Mets come up short, man. Oh well. 2001, I remember one of the biggest moments too in New York. 9/11 happens, and then 10 days later, the Mets play against the Braves, regular season game, and Mike Piazza hits that home run. One of the first game back. It's a different type of vibe because the Mets and mostly Mets and Yankees all rocking fire department hats and police hats, and it was just that was one of the greatest moments. I'll start with Avery. What do you remember that 9/11 game or when that happened and when sports came back?
I do. I mean, it was hard for me to watch sports because I really, a lot of people watching this may not know what it was like to live through that time, but you didn't know what was going to happen. You would have never thought the World Trade Center would have fallen. So watch that kind of stuff and see all those people together. I was nervous because in my head, I'm thinking, well, something might happen. But then at the same time, I said there's a lot of cops and fire departments, so they probably have security. So, I mean,
security was heightened. Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed the game, and it was nice to see something kind of getting to a kind of normal, where you can go enjoy and kind of forget that things like that were happening. It was between that and watching wrestling when they had the first SmackDown back, and then it was nice to see some kind of normal stuff, man.
Yeah.
Joe, you're a wrestling fan?
I was around in those days, actually. I'm not anymore, but from 99 to 02, 03, I was pretty big into wrestling. But then after your favorite wrestler goes from heel turn to face turn to heel turn to face turn, you're like, this is ridiculous. I can't take this serious anymore.
It's not like you talk about the Big Show.
Well, Stone Cold going, what? I was like, all right. He can't really wrestle anymore, but he's shit talking or whatever.
That's true. But that was good time, man.
Yeah, after 2002, I remember that was another big free agent signing because we got Mo Vaughn and Roberto Alomar.
Oh yeah,
that was a bunch of weird trades that were supposed to be good, but all backfired hilariously.
It was similar to '92 with the Bonilla and Saberhagen, and it just was the same thing. It didn't work out. 2002 worked out, but
Well, they got rid of David Justice. I remember that. He came in.
He didn't play.
Get him out of here. Came from Atlanta, did nothing.
Yeah, he didn't even play. Yeah, but move on. I guess around 2003, 2004, you see the emergence of Jose Reyes comes up, David Wright comes up, and I remember these prospects, when you're bad enough, you get some prospects. They go through the farm system, and then they become. Jose Reyes coming up. I remember I was so impressed by him. Were you big on Reyes?
Who?
Yeah, Avery. Yeah, Avery. I'll start with you.
I was happy to see that the Mets are using the farm system because I think that's something that a lot of teams need to do more often. You groom your own homegrown talent instead of trading away players and spending all this money. Take your guys that you grew in your farm system and you bring them up. And it paid off. Look at Reyes, look at Wright. Those guys came, and even though David Wright did his career, man, if he could have stayed healthy, he'd have probably been bigger. But unfortunately, he's got the spinal stenosis and his career cut short. But he was a good player while he was here. Let me tell you that.
He was great. He's definitely
great player.
Yeah. And so, Joe, were you big on Reyes and Wright too?
Yeah, Reyes was so amazing and electric when he first came up. And then I remember he got hurt after like 2-3 months, and that
he was off the nature,
going forward. And then they tried to teach him to run differently, and they tried to move him to second base for Kazmat.
They were taking with him. Reyes was he was like a 5-tool, like he can hit for average. I think he led the National League in average one year, and then he can also still
create his walk year.
It was just like he was a all-around player. So I love Reyes, I love Wright, man. They were coming up. We had some young guys coming up, and I was like, this is great. This is great. So 2006 fast forward, like we had a stack team. 2006, probably one of the most disappointing years because you have Beltran you signed like last year, and your hype Beltran comes in. You got Paul LaDuca, Carlos Delgado,
Duca, yes,
Pedro. Even though past prime Pedro, but still Pedro. I think you had a good team. Tom Glavine, oh man.
Even though he kept getting hurt right before the playoffs.
But in a situation, you put El Duque in, he'll get it done. That's what I like. Yeah, just the Al was still good. It was just like that was pre. No, I'm moving past. I'm sorry. Ignore Al. But that was a good team. So
we also had Tom Glavine. Don't forget that.
I said Tom Glavine. That's it. Yeah, Tom Glavine. Tom Glavine, Pedro. That was such a good team, man. And they go
Orlando Hernandez,
El Duque. That was such a good. That team, top to bottom, Delgado, Beltran.
That bullpen was ridiculous, and then for some reason after that season, they were like, "Let's get rid of everybody from the bullpen and replace them with crappier versions of themselves."
Ricky Leday, Cliff Floyd. Oh my God, Sean Green.
I like Sean Green, greatest Jewish player of all time.
Because they accidentally traded away Xavier Nady for like nothing.
That's right.
But 2006,
we should get somebody.
They win the division. They go all the way to the NLCS, and Avery brought up they go to 7 games with the Cardinals. First of all, I hate Yadier Molina for the rest of my life. After that, the Mets were supposed to win that game, man. Eddie Chavez with that miraculous catch.
So I was doing a show that night in the city, and the game was on, and I went on stage. It was perfectly right when a commercial hit. So, like, my set was fine. But then while another comedian's on stage, the Andy Chavez catch happens, and the entire bar stands up, and everyone's like, yeah! And the comedian froze.
I didn't get to the punchline yet. Okay.
Like, why are you even doing a show right now? And then they won.
Could have been taping that for his Tonight Show set. Hey, look, check this out. If you get to the punchline, the crowd went crazy. It's right in the middle of the story.
And this is the part where Avery, when you mentioned the Beltran freezing that.
Yes, the problem is I was watching baseball so much and paying so much attention because we were so good, and you come down to the last out, full count, 3-2. You got your best player on the mound. My heart's in my chest, and I'm like, well, this is good money. We're good here. Mm-hmm. I sat there, I watched the whole game from beginning to end. I'm thinking, all right, we got this in the bag. I'll pat myself on the back, high five to my sister. We're going, we're good. And he didn't even swing at the last freaking pitch. He didn't even swing. I'm sorry to yell. Let me lower my voice. I'm sorry to yell. I'm sorry I'm yelling. But you would think who. I'm not a Major League Baseball player, but all I got to say is, if it's a full count, you know you're getting a strike, so you have to swing. Did you think you were going to get a ball? Do you think it was? You got to swing on a 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Bases loaded, you know.
I thought there was more game to play. I was like, so what now? What? So who's up next? What's happening? My sister's like, the game's over. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, you're like, what?
I'm like, all right, what just happened? What do you mean? I was up there playing. What do you mean he didn't swing? So that's kind of when I stopped watching as much, because I was getting way too.
Yeah, you were done. Yeah.
It was too aggressive. Dude, I was pissed. I went to my room and I slammed the door. My mother's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, I said the Mets lost. She said, "Oh my, calm down." I was like, I went through the emotions. I sat in my room. I was there for a while. I was just pissed. I was like, I can't deal with it. So I stopped watching.
You gotta take a break.
Yeah, it was Wainwright that. Yeah, Adam Wainwright. He pitched though. Yeah, it was
The pitch was like 47 miles per hour.
Yeah, it was like an off-speed pitch. Yeah,
off speed. Yes, sir. Wow.
Funny curve. Yeah. So 2006, the Cardinals went to the World Series. Now, if the Mets won, they would have played Detroit. I think they would have beat Detroit, and we'd be celebrating. Yeah, we'd be celebrating. But oh well. It's typical Mets fashion.
I wasn't that mad because I was like, they'll be right back there next year. But, little did I know, next year would be 9 years later.
Yeah. 2007, they had, I think they were leading, and they just skidded. In the regular season, they just skidded out of control, and they
had
2 years in a row. 2007,
game lead.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. 7 games, and they lost all 7 games, and the Phillies won the division that year because the Mets could not hold on to a 7-game lead. All you got to do is win 7 games. That's that.
I think there was one game where Glavine blew, he was one of the games that were keeping him in there. Glavine had a bad game, and it just spiraled out of control. That year, in 2008, the same. It was just they started well, and then it just bottomed out.
Well, yeah. By then I stopped watching. I'd watch what? What'd you say, Joe?
Yeah. Pontillo froze. He'll be back.
Each year is just like, wow, it's the same thing as last year. That's impressive.
Johnny, can I just do a quick impression of what Joe's face looked like just now for the past couple of months? Your face was like.
That's the Pontillo face. But 2007, 2008 was about the thing. I guess I was looking forward. 2008, also the last year, Shea Stadium. I know you
they lose the final game and then have to have the closing ceremony right after.
Yeah, Piazza and Seaver closed the door.
Why wouldn't you do that before the game?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So a dumb franchise.
Can we also talk about how lousy those catchphrases were? Like, next year is now. I never liked that phrase. Next year is now. Really, you're going to break my hearts again? This year, I'm not going to watch. I hate it.
I'm not going to lie. Mets, as big as a fan I am, it's one of the most cheesiest franchise. They do the most cheesiest stuff. I guess with the Yankees, because they're winning tradition and they're so old school, they don't have to rely on promotions. Like Mets, would have merengue night or Hispanic culture night or
night.
Yoda night. Watch Yoda hit a pitch. Seinfeld night.
Do you remember they used to have people come and perform after the games to make people come? So I remember one year, Lauryn Hill was there one year.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that pretty soon.
Mommy, this is a littlest Mets fan right here. He's gonna be a Mets fan.
Don't do it to him, baby.
Sorry.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to my kid. I'm not doing it. He's gonna make his own.
Now I have a chance.
We'll learn. I'll show you the old tapes. You'll learn about that in the old tapes. Okay.
If you know, I bring my kids to games all the time, and they're like, I'm like, you don't have to. I remember we went to a Knicks Nets game with LeBron McGowan, and he was like, nah, I'm not bringing my kid to watch this torture. Shout out to LeBron. He's like, nah, I'm not bringing it. I brought my kid. He's like, yo, where's your kid? He's like, nah. We can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him make his own mind who's gonna root for him.
Yeah, let him. We're just stuck in our ways. We're fucked.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So when you get a chance.
Yeah. So when Citi Field opened, I know you guys are not to have. I was excited because it was new. Because not only that there was a new Yankee Stadium as well, so it was cool for the city to get 2 new stadiums. You know what I'm saying? 2 new ballparks. So like
I don't think the Yankees needed a new stadium, but
I agree. They didn't. The Yankees did not. They didn't need a new stadium because for what? So you can charge people $30 for a Frank and a beer. Like
well, maybe they did, because do you remember that time where the beam fell?
Oh shit! Yeah, wow.
The beam fell, and then the Yankees had to play the game in Shea, and that was the first year. I forgot what year was that. That was the first year they had 4 professional baseball teams play 2 games in the same day. So it was the Yankees, I think, played the Angels, and the Mets had their game at night. So that was an interesting time as well. So
whoever designed Citi Field clearly wasn't told which team was going to play there.
There was so many renovations throughout, so many upgrades throughout the time. Remember, they were trying to make it a pitcher's park, so they pushed everything back. They were like, all right, it's 500 feet in center field. So nobody can hit so much. And baseball is the only game where you can design your ballpark, you can design your venue to, it's not like in Madison Square Garden, the Knicks are like, all right, we're going to make our basket like 6 feet lower. You know what I'm saying? Baseball is the only sport where everybody the ballparks play
you got the Green Monster, and then you got LA Dodger Stadium. They designed. I don't think they should allow that. But again, I didn't see the point of Citi Field. I didn't think it helped. They added seats. I'm like, why are you adding seats? For what? You're gonna sell out a crowd in the game. You can't even win a series. Nah, man, it didn't help. It didn't help. And then the price of admission and the price of the food there, and the food wasn't that good. It was the worst about it. $12 for a beer, Joe.
What? $12. $12 for a beer. I better be drunk for a week. Okay.
I'm telling you. And you get this much beer for $12.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
a regular beer. It's like it's a
special
beer.
Water, you can't bring the cap because you know you're gonna throw the shit.
I want to have a drink with the players.
It's gonna be like WCW back in the day. Remember, everybody used to throw trash in the ring. That's how it's gonna be. But it was like City. I don't mind Citi Field. Citi Field has some
it's grown on me barely, but.
Barely. Yeah, I agree. Barely. I mean, I used to work at Enterprise, and we had a very good relationship with Modell's. So I remember one year that they allowed us to use the Modell's box on Citi Field, and
nice.
Freaking Tommy Lasorda came in and said hi to everyone, then ate our food that was for us. He came in to eat the food that was there. I'll never forget it. He said, "Hey, Tommy, what's up, man? Weight Watchers, all right." And he stuck like 4 francs in his mouth. I'll never forget it. It's just the best.
Yeah,
that was a nice part. There you go.
Rolade, yeah.
Wasn't he like their spokesperson?
Yeah, Tommy was wow. Baseball game, Sega Genesis. Tommy Lasorda baseball. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. But that was the best part of Citi Field. I didn't really care for the stadium. I missed Shea, and I missed the branding. I missed the apple that would come up with the home runs. They redesigned it and they did something different. They put the old one in a museum or somewhere in the house like this.
Third base dug at like the first base side. Yeah.
Nah, maybe I'm old and maybe I just like tradition, but I wasn't feeling it, man.
Yeah.
Was not feeling it.
It's not for everybody. I personally like if you bring your kid, you can play in the playground. You can do everything but watch the game. that's what Citi Field's all about.
And that's what people were doing in the last couple of years anyway. No one would go to a baseball game and watch the game. They'd go, get some sun, get some fresh air,
have a concert.
People are chatting in the upper decks.
At least they've mostly been bad at Citi Field, so you're better off to not watch the game. But
there you go. Yeah. I went to go see Lauryn Hill. I didn't go to see. I was like, oh, Lauryn Hill's after the game. You gotta wait till after the game, get through that pain, then you get to see the concert. They do like 1 or 2 songs and leave. So
yeah,
$20 is worth it.
Probably started 4 or 5 years ago, and I went to the Nas one.
Yes, I remember that.
I went to that one, and then I took my wife. It was also, there's the thing about the Mets. Everything's important but the game. They had yoga night, yoga day. So we go and bring our yoga mat. No, they gave out yoga mats. They gave us yoga mats.
He's not. Yeah, Joe. He's not lying. He's dead serious. I remember that.
I'm not lying, dude.
I did not remember this.
They had
yoga mats.
Brought a match.
Like dog night or dog
Me and
day.
my wife did it 2 years in a row. So they had yoga mats. We did the yoga, left, came back for the game, and they would play the Pirates. And extra in it. And then there was a Neo concert, and for $30 extra, you can go onto the field.
Wow.
So, and my wife was a big Neo fan, but she like the basement she was about to die because these games were so long. Like if it didn't go to extra innings, it'd be a different story. But it went to extra innings, so she's like, "Oh my God, this sucks." So, so it's like so Neo comes in. It was actually a good concert. Everything was good with the game. The Mets lost in extra innings. So and this was like
concert or fireworks night, they lose. That's kind of the rule.
Yeah, that's the rule of thumb. And I'll tell you this. Yeah, I'll tell you this one. Today is the anniversary 5 years ago, 2015. They did the sleepover. I just looked it up on my Facebook timeline. I went to the sleepover.
He's not lying. That's the actual promotion. That yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't done it. I did it the last one. You pay $80. Me and my brother-in-law went, and we brought his kids. So it was $80 each for us, and like 30 or 40 for the kids. We get there around like 6, 7 in the afternoon. Like 5, 6. They show the Mets are playing the Braves in Atlanta. So we get to hang out on the grass. They had the infield blocked off, so nobody could go on it. Security was like, "No, you can't go on the infield. Stay on the outfield. You can bring your gloves, throw around balls, have fun, bring a tent, all that stuff." They show the Mets game on the big screen, and then they show a movie afterwards, and they give you food, like you get this, some candy, including your package. Other
hot cocoa.
Yeah, and then they show a movie. So then after the movie, you go to sleep in your tent. But what sucks about it rained. So we had to move from the field under the mezzanine level, under the field level. So we're sleeping on the concrete or whatever in the field level in a tent. I'm uncomfortable. I'm up all night. And it's just pitch black in City Field. And then they wake up in the morning. They give you a breakfast of Dunkin' Donuts and coffee.
They couldn't get somebody to make eggs.
So nope. you basically paid $80 to have to do what? You just we get to sleep. I got to sleep on the concrete at
it was on the field because other people told me, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome. And we did it 3 years in a row." And then now it's like, "Oh, it happened to rain." So I do it.
I saw another team doing it, and I'm like, I hope the Mets don't do this. And then they did it. So
they did. Probably a minor league team. So yeah, they did that. But I'll fast forward to 2015. The Mets they go to the World Series. Didn't see it coming with old ass Anderson and what I'm saying.
The first year I was on New York 1 for Mets opening day, so I feel partially responsible for that.
Yeah, thanks, Pontillo.
This is your fault, Pontillo.
Okay.
I was wondering.
But that was a fun season. I remember in April when they started like 14-2. Like they just really like in the month of April they won a lot of games, and then from there they sustained the lead. And like Cespedes, we got Cespedes, and Cespedes has like an MVP. He puts up crazy numbers, man. He's just hitting home runs left and right. Daniel Murphy has a great he's doing good.
Didn't we have Bartolo Colon too or something like that?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah. Big sexy. He had a fountain of youth, man. It was good. And then we had the pitching staff of the future: DeGrom, Syndergaard, Harvey,
right.
And we're like, oh man, this is cool, man. We're going all the way. And
traded them all the way. Oh,
yeah. And then I remember they get to the NLCS with the Cubs, and they beat the shit out of the Cubs. And I'm like, oh my God, this is baseball, and Queens is back. Mets are good. Oh man, I'm happy as hell. I went to the Cubs, one of the Cubs games, NLCS games, and it was just like I'm just having the time of my life. I'm so happy, man. And then they get to the World Series. I'll start with you, Joe. When the Mets went to the World Series, talk about big deal.
I don't know. That was another one of those series that was pretty much lost in game one. That's kind of what it was. Because they were winning. Familia blew the Familia, who they couldn't touch him throughout the entire season.
Yeah, in Kansas City was a script. They didn't have a star, but they were just scrappy guys. They're just scrappy. Like every guy was like just scrappy and annoying. Oh, man, beat this. When I saw the roster, I'm like, yeah, we should beat this team, and it doesn't happen.
They were there the year before, so like they had inside knowledge.
Yeah, experience and grit. They definitely were. Yeah, the experience
from the NLCS to the World Series. You know,
Yeah.
They should have let the Cubs win a few games to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, yeah, they took a big dip because Cespedes, Daniel Murphy had a bunch of errors in the World Series. It was really depressing.
Yeah, everybody ran out of their pixie juice. Whatever.
Yeah, I went to the final game when the Kansas City won, and Matt Hart. I remember the crowd. We went. I bought a standing room ticket. Just happy to be there. It was a little. Like, I think I paid $4 something. I didn't give a shit. I was like, yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
4 T or 4?
No, 400. Four and change.
Damn.
Yeah, it's me. That's if anybody knows me, I do stupid.
That was the most Metsian game ever.
I know.
Remember Matt Harvey stays like, I'm staying in the game. I'm staying in the game. Terry Collins wants to take him out. I'm staying in the game.
Yeah.
and he stays in the game. Murphy commits an error, and then it doesn't.
Yeah, that was at the end of Harvey's career.
I'm sorry, guys. I knew this series was going to be over from Game 2 when Johnny Cueto was pitching for the for Kansas City, and I think they wait, hold on, 1-7. When I saw that, I was like, Johnny who? And he did y'all like that?
Not as bad as them not being able to hit Jeff Suppan and Jeff Weaver in 2006.
Yeah, that was a bad.
Cueto had some moments in his career.
So many bad moments. Yeah, so 2015 was a fun
ride.
ride.
Cueto's the guy who turns completely around when he pitches. Like he faces
yes, faces the back. Yeah, they couldn't figure it out.
That should be legal.
Where'd the ball go? Where'd the ball go?
Almost like remember Hideo Nomo? He just pulls it all the way back, and then but 2015 was a hell of a run, but they come up short, man.
Yeah.
So, but they keep the momentum.
Cut out of here.
Yeah. Huh?
I might have to cut out in like a minute.
Yeah, me too. Running out of time.
So so 2016 they get to the playoffs again. They lose to what's the name? They lose to the Giants. That one game playoff. Yeah. So and then after that, it's just been depressing.
Well, they turned it around last year, and now baseball doesn't exist anymore. So pretty par for the course.
And then we got Pete Alonso broke the record rookie home runs, and now we might have another franchise player on our hands. So I'm excited about that. And now you still have DeGrom, probably the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Syndergaard had Tommy John surgery, but nobody will ever remember that.
Yeah. So it's 2020. It's all over, man. Nothing else. Nothing good will happen.
Baseball was good while it lasted.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the many giveaways throughout the years.
Yeah, man.
I got a couple bobbleheads.
Yeah, me too, man. I had a Reyes bobblehead. I had some. Like, Mets, it's good for the free stuff, man. You get the sleepovers, you get the concerts. It's your favorite. The good concerts.
Just don't
but
get
being a Mets fan itself is so costly that all the free stuff in the world doesn't fill that void.
Not at all. You know how much money you got to pay for the cable services to watch some of those games?
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst, man. And I was thinking back about Shea Stadium. One thing I do remember, like, if I couldn't get into a game or if I didn't have money when I was a kid to go into money, I would get on the 7 train, and they had the platform where you could peek in a little bit at center field.
People did that. Yep, people do. Yep.
You don't get a good view, but it was like good enough if you wanted to be part of something. So I was like, people would go on the platform, but that.
Well, I remember people used to stand outside the stadium trying to catch home run balls. They would sit there, they would gather, and they'd wait, and clock, and then people would just be waiting.
You had a big open space. Yeah, you had that big open space. It was like Shea was just a big. It was a circle, like a semicircle with that big ass space in it.
You could see all of Queens from the seat. You could see the U-Haul place. That was like the big monument.
Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. So those were the good old days, man. So, guys, I want to thank you so much. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This brought back a lot of painful memories.
Thank you. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I buried that stuff, and now you brought it back up. I just want to apologize for yelling. I wasn't yelling at you guys. I was yelling at the situation.
All right, Avery, anything you want to plug, Avery, before you get out of here?
I'd like to plug the fact that I have my website. It's live now. It's averymasonofficial.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Avery Mason Official on Instagram, and on Twitter, it's the Avery Mason. I had a pilot I was supposed to be doing, but
Nice.
when everything happened with the pandemic, it just, kaput. So I'm hoping to get, I do comedy too, so I'm hoping to get back on stage, do some more comedy, come out to Long Island, hang out with you guys, and do some more acting, and hopefully we'll be back to some kind of normal soon. But Thanks for having me. It's been a blast kind of having these memories. And my word of advice to the Mets, stop giving away all your young players. Don't make any more trades. We had some great guys. You gave them all away for peanuts, and it didn't help us. The end.
Thank you, Avery. I appreciate you, man. Pontillo, anything you want to plug, bro?
I think we could have did like 5 episodes on the Mets, but
yeah, we only have but so much time.
Just, I guess, follow me on Instagram, Pontillogram, Joe Pontillo on Twitter, and find me on YouTube and subscribe, because that's where all the content I got is right now, because that's all I can really do for the next few weeks at least. But maybe comedy will be back soon in some capacity, and then my website will not have a blank schedule. So,
all right, guys. Yeah, thanks again, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, man.
Take care, guys.
All right, that was Avery Mason and Joe Pontillo, man. We had fun talking about the heartaches and pains of being a Mets fan. That's it, guys. Episode 10. It's a wrap, man. Thanks for sticking around. Also, Root for Laundry right on the bottom. Follow us on IG, Twitter. And subscribe to the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. All right? Thank you. Be safe, everybody.